Very good to be speaking with you. Looking forward to the show, of course. I'd love to get some of your personal insights into the show and things like that.
It's fun. It's fun to be a part of. It's kind of it's the changing of the characters that we each go through is it's kind of surreal in a way, because you're so wrapped up and involved in a character, in one scene, and then you go and you play either somebody completely opposite in the same scene or just a completely different scene altogether. So kind of that switching of dimensions in your mind in a way that makes it a lot of fun for the audience as well as the performer.
That is awesome. That's exciting. It's just full of surprises, no doubt. I'm sure everybody is always on kind of on the edge of their seat. What's going to happen now?
Yeah, right. You don't know who's going to walk out of what door and what they're going to say and who they're going to be. And sometimes we catch ourselves off guard as well with that kind of stuff, So keeps it fresh for sure.
Mm-hmm. So what's some of the craziest moments that you could remember that you'd like to share maybe or talk about the show that people could look forward to?
You see, you wouldn't know. I want to tell you these things, but I also don't want to spoil anything. So I've got to pick my moments because there's some stuff. There's definitely some things that happen, especially towards the second act, that you wouldn't think would belong in a show about a small town in Texas. These crazy with some very crazy lighting effects that happen with kind of some sci-fi elements, I guess, that are very unexpected. Very very spectacular to watch.
Wow.
There's my favorite thing. There's some stuff that goes on at a funeral home that is very very touching, but it's also very very funny. Just how different people act around in that kind of a very sensitive situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sets the tone for that, and then the audience. You don't know whether it's kind of like in a real funeral home. You don't know whether you're allowed to laugh. That kind of stuff. There's that kind of tension that you're put in that I find particularly fun to play.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your characters? Who do you play? Because you play a few different ones, right? They kind of switch off and on, quick costume changes and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some very fast ones, and there's some that we go for that the whole intention is, how did they do it? And in that regard, there is, I consider, some magic elements to it, like you would in a magic show, like with David Copperfield or something like that, where it's like clearly it happened, but how did it happen? That kind of fantastical element. And there's a few scenes I have where I'm either playing just totally opposite characters coming on from different sides of the stage. So some wizardry that goes on backstage for sure, and then another fast change is I'm playing all three. There's these three siblings, and I play all three of the kids. So they're all coming in for breakfast and getting out the door really fast. And the mom stays in the scene the whole time, but I'm the three kids coming through the same door and leaving out the back door every time. So that's interesting to do as well as to watch.
Yeah, I could imagine. I can't imagine. I think you have to see it to. Now, if someone's seen the show before, are they going to be familiar with all of this, or is this got some new twists that maybe will be a surprise for everybody?
That's what's really fun about it. Is if you are familiar with the series, there's of course the same heart to it and a lot of the same stuff. But if you come in expecting certain things, you might be surprised because there's going to be some new things talked about, as well as characters you haven't seen before, or characters that are being portrayed in a very different way than you might expect. So that keeps things fresh for people who are familiar with the series. But, of course, if you haven't seen it, it's all going to be new to you and will all be a rip-roaring good time.
So now if you were trying to explain the show to someone and explain, hey, why you really need to come see this, you're not going to believe it, what would you say? Someone's listening right now and they're like trying to get their husband to come with them. And they're like, no, you really need to see this because like this is how it is and you'll totally love it.
Yeah, that's I think there's two things there. The first thing is that you're going to know people like this, you know. That a lot of these characters, that's what's so funny about it, is like, and I know myself as well as my fellow actors, we've based a lot of these characters on people we know, because we're all from the South or have lived in the South for a very long time. And so there's a lot of familiarity there with just certain types of people. So you're going to come and you're going to feel a part of this town to a certain extent. So it's more of an experience in that way. You're not just watching it happen. You feel a little involved, and there's even parts in the show that directly involve the audience. And the other thing is that it's kind of one of a kind. There's really nothing else like this show, for sure, that I've seen. There's certain brands of comedy that are really in your face, or joke after joke, and then this one is just, it's so far out there, but also kind of right next to you. It is just very familiar, but also very one of a kind. So I think if you're looking for a very unique theater experience, this is the show for you, because you're not going to find anything else like it. Come see the show. Come hang out. I would love to put on a show for all the people listening, and would love for everybody to come be a part of this. This is, like I said, one of a kind thing, and we're out here on the road doing it. So I would love everybody to come out and experience this show.
Thank you,
all right,
Tim
well, thank you very much. It was
Leavon.
great talking with you.
Great to talk to you.